Exactly how bad is the masculinity crisis in the United States? Worse than I thought.
This is not a hard one to figure out. This is no mystery to anyone in a spiritual community. Let me rephrase, to anyone in a spiritual community who understands about masculine energies and feminine energies, and to anyone who understands feminism and gender politics. There's a masculinity crisis in this country and around the world because modern men are socialized to hate everything within them that is what society deems as female, feminine. They don't get to play with dolls and learn how to nurture children. They don't get to wear pink. They gotta act tough. They can't cry. Real men don't. Blah, blah, blah. There are endless examples of that. I won't go on. But ultimately, what this leads to is a lifetime of internalized shame about things that are natural for humans. If you've been watching my videos and watching me talk about the rise of the feminine, of the divine feminine, you've heard me say that I don't believe that gender is a binary, both biologically, spiritually, and socially, and that we have masculine and feminine traits and energies within all of this. So, not only is the rise of the feminine literal in that it's time for more feminine leadership, but the rise of the feminine also applies to the energies within us, a resurgence of the feminine energies. And with that comes a resurgence in empathy, love, community, those traits that are inherently nurturing. Now, as this energy is naturally rising, because this is a spiritual process, this comes from beyond to restore humans to a more expanded state of consciousness in which both our masculine and feminine energies are in balance, in which every human can draw from them both the true traits that were not skewed through a cultural gender interpretation. As this is rising, it causes a lot of internal struggle in those who have suppressed one of those gender expressions. Those who have the most internalized shame, I'm speaking particularly to males and male presenting people, those who have the most internalized shame around their more feminine desires or expressions, their likes, and the things that they want to express, but their family, culture, society has forced them to hate and repress, this is where we see the most problems, in the suppressing of the shadow. The shadow being that which we are told is inappropriate, that we cannot have, that we should not have. So with the suppression, what you're typically going to see anytime that we feel that we have to be forcibly, that we are forcibly suppressing things that are natural or things we want to express, you typically see this show up in violent, rough, aggressive external ways of lashing out at those who represent the thing that we are suppressing. Or you see this in self-sabotage internal ways, depression, anxiety, shame. So when you look at the problems that male presenting people are experiencing from the healer's perspective and from my understanding of this issue, a lot of this you see is the suppression of the feminine and our cultural bias against things that are feminine. The good news is, folks, that as we continue to do our collective healing, our collective shadow work, go through this collective dark night of the soul, and as we are expanding our consciousness, raising in frequency, all of this through the ascension process I've been talking about, which is really just human evolution, social evolution, cultural revolution that allows for more acceptance of people exactly where they're at. And that creates societies and societal norms that accept and make space for all of our differences. This can all be eventually healed. It's all going to be accepted, worked through, and there will be safe places for people to express themselves exactly as they are. And as that happens, then the problems we see due to the suppression eventually go away. We don't have to have that violent extermination of the external, and we don't have to have the internal self-sabotage. When all parts of us can be seen, witnessed, validated, when it's safe to be exactly who we are, and when it's safe and healthy to work through the confused, suppressed feelings we have about these things, we come to a resolution, and then we can create policies that we all agree are helpful for everyone. And this is why we need the feminine to rise. Both literally, it's time for more female leaders. Let's do things differently. and so that all people can be balanced and whole.